No one expected that it would rain for a whole year. After 20 days of scorching heat, heavy rain poured down for 10 days and 10 nights, turning the entire city into a vast expanse of water. I thought living on a high floor would keep me safe until the end, but a sudden flash flood shattered my dream. The raging flood has reached the 31st floor, and the ceiling is covered in countless cracks. I dare not gamble on the building's quality. If the whole ceiling collapses, I'll be trapped here, and even risk losing my life on the spot. I bit my wrist, ran out frantically. My belongings are all in the bedroom, but now I can only grab 2 small suitcases and crawl out. Just crawled outside when the bedroom ceiling collapsed, revealing a big hole. Rainwater poured in, smashing the bed flat. Still shaken, I crawled on all fours towards the living room. I found the ceiling in one corner of the living room is also broken, with rainwater splashing mixed with yellowish water, turning the living room into a garbage dump. The only fortunate thing is that the big iron gate was not crashed open. Water can only squeeze in through the gap in the door. Unfortunately, the flood didn't reach as high as the 31st floor. I am much safer than the owners on the lower floors. I made it to the kitchen door, leaning against the wall. I was soaking wet, vision blurry, and there was a bad smell in the air. I held onto the 2 relatively intact suitcases tightly. They were the only items I could rescue. One box contained simple food and water, while the other box contained some medication. I didn't specifically bring them out, but could only bring them out as I couldn't bring anything else. With a loud crack, a mysterious explosion noise overshadowed the sound of the flood, causing the building to tilt further and the ceiling to crack severely. What should I do? I feel like a dying man dragging my suitcase, watching out for the cracks in the ceiling. When the debris falls on my head, I crawl to another spot. I've relocated 3 times already. Half of the ceiling in the living room has completely broken open, revealing a vast white sky and pouring rain. It looks like the mouth of a demon, and I can't bear to look at such a sky. It's making it hard for me to breathe. I could only look away, but when I turned my head, I saw the terrifying scene outside the balcony. A red and yellow torrent was roaring and rushing, carrying countless trees, buildings, and lifeless bodies, flowing southward relentlessly. Everything along the way has been destroyed. I saw the opposite building had collapsed. It was the first batch of houses in the community and also the oldest. It couldn't withstand the impact of the flood. Our building might be flooded up to more than 20 floors. The desperation of this situation is making me lose my mind. 3 years ago, a nightmare expanded infinitely. I could breathe, but felt like I couldn't catch my breath. I thought about death. How insignificant we are in the face of natural disasters. I don't think I can survive this. I can't overcome the nightmare from 3 years ago, nor can I escape from this tilted building. I hope my parents can survive. They have reached Liangshan and hopefully won't be flooded. Thinking this way gives me a bit of comfort. I took a deep breath and mustered up the courage to look at the sky outside the ceiling. Oh God, do you really want me dead? Suddenly feeling something off, I realized the sky was missing something. In the misty whiteness, the terrifying storm I expected was nowhere to be seen. I looked closer and saw that the storm had actually stopped. I couldn't believe it. It was pouring rain just now, but now it has stopped. I rubbed my eyes and looked carefully. There is indeed no heavy rain anymore. It has really stopped raining. Excited screams came from next door, then spread throughout the whole building. Every floor had people shouting in excitement. The rain has really stopped. Even if the floodwaters were raging, but the rain has stopped. It was impossible for me not to be surprised. I thought I was a goner, but then a glimmer of hope came when I tried to stand up and found the building, though tilting, still standing strong. The worst of the flood had passed, and the building had weathered the storm. It was a double stroke of luck. I made my way to the balcony, leaned against the wall, and looked at the sky outside once again. There was truly no more rain. The flood below the 20th floor seems much calmer now. We're safe. We're alive. The neighbors are all shouting from their balconies, encouraging each other. Since the 31st floor is the highest, every room has many owners from lower floors. Our 31st floor is very lively. I thought to myself, I didn't realize there were so many people around us. In an instant, I was infected by this joyful atmosphere. It's hard to describe the feeling. Humans really are social animals. After surviving the disaster, hearing the shouts of my neighbors, I suddenly felt a warmth. My desire to live has grown stronger. I must find a way to reach the top of Liangshan. It's not safe now because there has been a sudden rain stop halfway through. It's just a short break from the heavens. As long as the sky remains overcast, I don't believe the rain has truly stopped. I have to leave here. Liangshan is my destination. I have been thinking about it for a while, but couldn't go. Now with the flood getting worse, it seems even more impossible. However, if the heavy rain stops, maybe the flood will ease a bit. With a boat, I can go along with the flood towards the southeast to Liangshan. As long as I arrive at Liangshan before the heavy rain comes again, I can survive. I have decided on this idea. My will to survive is stronger than ever, and I understand that I cannot hide by myself. Hiding alone will only lead to death. No matter how long I survive alone, I will eventually die. Now I have to rely on the strength of the group. I gaze towards the southeast, where everything is hazy and the flood has swallowed everything. But my parents are there, along with a mountain over 2,000 meters high. Does anyone have fever-reducing medicine? My child has had a high fever for 2 days, and it's getting worse now. Suddenly, cries are heard outside the door. Someone is going door to door asking for medicine. The 31st floor is chaotic. Lots of people ran out to check. I'm a doctor, and I have medicine at home, but my house is on the 15th floor, and it's already flooded. I heard a cough and drank a lot of water. My stomach hurts badly. Does anyone have painkillers? We are gathered together, still thinking about helping each other, but maybe our power is too limited. Many people down downstairs are coming up, begging for food and medicine. The building is filled with a stench of decay. This may be a precursor to an outbreak of disease, as the flood has brought in too many bacteria, and too many people have died in the building. How many bodies are soaking in the houses below the 20th floor? I stood by the door, listening to the voices outside, and let my mind wander. In the face of such a disaster, one person's strength is so insignificant. When the storm strikes again, all the dark sides of human nature are just illusions. Everyone will die. We must come together to save ourselves. I have the medicine. I step out and everyone looks over in surprise, wondering why there is someone in the room. I don't answer. I opened the box filled with medicine and found a lot of common medications inside, such as fever reducers, pain relievers, and anti-inflammatories. They are still usable due to good storage conditions. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. The woman holding her child was so happy that she was in tears and her hands were shaking. A tall man next to me offered, "If you have medicine, it will be easy. I will feed the fever medicine to the child." I looked at him, noticing his yellow-stained clothes, looking disheveled, but with a handsome face. He smiled at me and said, "I am Liang Yu, a doctor at the People's Hospital." "Hello." I nodded in greeting and said, "My name is Lin Shi." An old man suddenly handed me a dirty bag of bread and said, "Young man, have some. Your kindness came just in time. At times like this, whether selfish or great, we all just want to survive. We must keep on living." I spoke up. "We need to leave here. The heavy rain is bound to come again. We can't risk waiting for it to stop by itself." The expressions on everyone's faces changed. I could tell many of them also expected the rain to return, but no one wanted to say it out loud. Liang Yu gave the child some fever medicine. He also agreed with my suggestion. "You can't hide from it. Lin Shi, what do you think? Let's find a boat to go to Liangshan in the southeast suburbs. With the heavy rain stopping and the flood receding, we might have a chance to reach Liangshan." I shared my idea, and after a moment of silence, most people were enthusiastic, although some were not keen on going. It's more than 20 miles away, and there are many obstacles along the way. Although the flood has calmed down a bit, it's still not a river. It's understandable to have these concerns about what if it starts pouring rain halfway. I have thought about it too, but if we don't leave, staying here is definitely a death sentence. The building is already leaning. If another heavy rain comes, once the flood rises rapidly, the building will collapse for sure. Liang Yu said, "Besides, we have no food left. Even if we can hide in the building all the time, we will eventually starve to death. It's better to take a chance." Liang Yu clearly stated the advantages and disadvantages, and his thoughts are the same as mine. Everyone suddenly started thinking. At this moment, a pair of twin brothers walked over. "We are rowing athletes. As long as there is a boat, we can steer." Everyone was thrilled and immediately gained confidence. So the only problem left is the boat. There is a boat factory upstream of the city, along with many fishing boats. The flood is coming from that direction, so it should wash some boats down. Let's go to the north side of the building and see if we can salvage a boat. A man with glasses suggested an idea. Since Lao Mao works at the shipyard, if he said so, there must be a ship. Some people who know Lao Mao think it makes sense. Many men went to the window to check it out. They lay on the dilapidated bed and could see the situation on the north side. In just a moment, someone yelled in surprise that there was a ship lying there sideways, possibly 21 stories high. I also looked over and saw the wrecked boat, which turned out to be a fishing boat, only a little over 10 meters long. Despite being quite dilapidated, it was still usable, indicating that the main structure was relatively stable. One boat was not enough, so let's see if there are any other boats that have been washed down. Liang Yu took charge and waved his hand. Women, children, and the elderly stayed on the 31st floor while the young men went down with me. We need to secure and repair the boat. Over 10 men followed Liang Yu downstairs. I'll go back to the room to gather the remaining food, and with the supplies in my other suitcase, we can all have a hearty meal. Everyone, hurry up and eat. The old man who tore the bread reminded us not to eat it all, to leave some for the young men who are working hard repairing the boat. Everyone nodded and agreed to leave more for Liang Yu and the others. Let's continue waiting. You can hear noises coming from the 21st floor. Men are shouting. After all, it's not easy to secure a boat in the flood. Many property owners from the upper floors have shown up. Upon hearing about our plans, some joined the team while others chose to hide back. Clearly, not everyone dares to head to Mount Liang. Plus, the heavy rain has stopped, giving many a false sense of security. I've been keeping an eye on the sky and it seems like nothing has changed except for the white clouds. I remember last time it rained and stopped halfway through for a day. How long do you think it'll stop this time? After nightfall, the temperature dropped sharply. Many people felt drowsy and some elderly folks were almost unconscious, huddling in the corner. I carried my suitcase and groped my way to the 21st floor. It was pitch black there, but there were still many people. Liang Yu and others were on the balcony of apartment 2105, securing the fishing boat outside with ropes. The boat was rusty and the engine had long been broken, but luckily it wasn't a wooden boat. Otherwise it would have fallen apart long ago. I brought food over. The men gobbled it all up quickly. Liang Yu ate half a pack of jerky and his spirits lifted. We need to set off at dawn. I'm worried that there might be a downpour again. I speak up to remind everyone, and people in the dark immediately become eager. I feel uneasy and keep looking at the sky, afraid of a sudden downpour. Luckily, there was no rain after daybreak, and even a ray of light appeared in the east, piercing through the cloudy sky. The sun is out. Everyone is cheering and rejoicing. Even though we can't see the sun clearly, the sunlight is shining through. The rain has truly stopped. The sun is out, and everyone is overjoyed and even in tears. Liang Yu gazed for a moment and asked me, Lin Shi, it doesn't look like it will rain anymore, right? I shook my head and replied, I'm not sure, but I think it might still rain. The sunlight can't break through the clouds. The sky now seems like it's covered with a layer of film, which is very unusual. Seeing a glimmer of light is worth being happy about, but we shouldn't let our guard down, because the sunlight can't reach us. I suspect the earth is wrapped in a layer of clouds. The sunlight is faint. Liang Yu thought it made sense and said, according to the original plan, we are supposed to send a group of people to Liangshan this morning. Those who were notified last night should go to the 21st floor. Liang Yu has great leadership skills and everything is well arranged, but many people are not willing to take risks. The sun is shining, so it's impossible for it to rain. How can we go to Liang Mountain on that old, broken boat? Yeah, let's wait for the flood to recede. Let's not take any risks. I'm not going. I'll just stay here and eat raw rice. In fact, more than half of the people are unwilling to set off. It's quite normal for them to think this way. After all, the sun represents hope. With hope, who wants to go die? Some of the men who repaired the ship yesterday are hesitant. Everyone is talking about it. I announce that I am leaving and anyone willing to come with me can join. People looked at each other, unsure. Liang Yu supports me. I scanned the crowd. Time is running out. Who else is willing to go? The woman who took care of the child with a fever yesterday stepped forward, holding her now awake daughter. As a geographer, I must say, the rain may come again. An elderly man who gave me bread also decided to join. In the end, a total of 13 people, including the two brothers who are rowing athletes, are willing to go to Liangshan with me. I felt like the boat was just big enough. I'm not a hero or anything, so I didn't try to convince others to come with us. I left the food and set off with Liang Yu and the group. The escape window on balcony 2105 was wide open. We climbed out one by one and jumped onto the fishing boat. Inside the house, a group of people watched us as we left. Some looked complicated, some worried, and some hesitant. The twins, Liang Yu and I, who are professional swimmers, along with the other 10 people, boarded the fishing boat. There were wooden boards for rowing, nylon ropes for stability, and some tools for repairing the boat on board. The twins have grabbed 2 large planks as paddles, while Liang Yu has tied ropes around the fishing boat and instructed us to hold onto the ropes tightly and not fall into the water. The rushing flood under the boat is relentless, not as terrifying as yesterday, but still not to be underestimated. Everyone nodded in agreement. As the most afraid of water, I huddled at the back of the fishing boat, hands gripping the ropes, feeling numb all over. Liang Yu waved goodbye to everyone and set off with the other 12 people. The twins used oars to push the boat towards the wall of the building, slowly moving to the right. Once the fishing boat was no longer blocked by the building, it accelerated suddenly and shot out. Everyone screamed, but luckily they were all holding onto the rope tightly, or some of them would have fallen off. I almost threw up, quickly closed my eyes and took a deep breath. In front of us was a vast flood. The whole city was submerged. Only some isolated tall buildings stood in the water. There were people waving for help on the tall buildings, but we couldn't reach them. The twin brothers struggled with steering the boat, but their experience prevented it from capsizing. There is a river passage in the southeast direction. Once we enter the river passage, we can easily reach the Liangshan area. Unfortunately, the fishing boat hit something unnoticed, suddenly tilted. A huge wave soaked me, and I ended up vomiting directly. Liang Yu quickly grabbed my arm to prevent me from falling off the boat, telling me to sit securely. In the city area with many buildings, the fishing boat couldn't sail smoothly. A young man named Abu loudly warned us, and as expected, we experienced several rough bumps along the way, almost capsizing. Luckily, the fishing boat was sturdy enough to keep us safe. As we got closer to the 20-mile journey, we finally sailed into the river after passing through a rough current near the southeast rocky reef. Of course, the river is no longer recognizable. It has been swallowed up by the flood, merging into a reddish-yellow color, which is great. Now it's much safer. I estimate we can reach Liangshan in half an hour. Abu exclaimed with joy that he was about to collapse from exhaustion. It took us nearly 2 hours to get here. If we push on for another half an hour, we will succeed. Suddenly, a loud thunder and lightning pierced the sky, turning the once bright sky dark. I felt nervous, with cold sweat trickling down. Liang Yu and the others also looked worried. Everyone urged to go faster, faster, as it was about to rain. What worried me the most had arrived. Accompanied by the thunder, a torrential rain would surely engulf the land. We still had half an hour to go, so we all picked up our pace along the relatively smooth river channel. The twins shouted loudly and stood on both sides of the boat, rowing hard with oars at the bow of the boat. With the help of the flood's force, they propelled forward. Everyone joined in, gripping wooden planks and paddling like dragon boating. I'm grateful to have 2 skilled rowers here. Otherwise, us ordinary folks wouldn't be able to row this fishing boat at all. With a loud bang, a louder thunderclap echoed through the sky, and in an instant, heavy rain poured down. It didn't come from a distance, but covered the entire city of Yuching all at once. We were drenched by the torrential rain, unable to open our eyes, and our movement was severely blocked. Liang Yu paddled the boat, encouraging us not to be afraid, saying that the flood hasn't arrived yet, and urging everyone to speed up. The flood he mentioned refers to the re-emergence of the mountain flood. The flood beneath our boat is not so frightening. What's terrifying is the second wave of flood behind us. I slide to the stern of the boat with effort, staring at the north with my eyes wide open. The hazy grey sky is being dragged by the reddish-yellow flood. In between is the endless rain. I can't see clearly. 10 minutes later, I heard a terrifying loud noise coming from the north. It was the flood roaring in. The flood is coming. Hurry! I shouted. My arms were almost too tired to paddle, and everyone rowed the boat frantically. The deafening roar from behind was getting closer and closer, pushing its way away relentlessly from the horizon. The roaring, 10-meter-high waves crashed and smashed buildings, and the flood was getting closer. Our boat was slowing down as the flood was too turbulent. The twin brothers looked back at me with a grim expression. Did they understand that we were all doomed?